Hey guys, Dennis here with Revog Games. I'm joined by
Joshua Weyers, all the way in South Africa.
yes, and we're doing the Game Awards 2022 kind of recap and reaction. Yes, I know this is late. We were planning on doing it the next day after, but a bunch of stuff happened. I think we were about to shoot it like 2 days ago, and then my internet went out.
We got like halfway through shooting one, and then your
Yeah,
internet went out. Yeah,
yeah. And then so yeah, all kinds of like power internet issues. Anyways,
yeah.
so it
I've
happened.
just not been having I've just not been having electricity half the time.
Yeah,
I only get like 11 and a half hours of electricity a day nowadays,
that
which
sucks.
sucks. It does
Yeah.
suck, yeah, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So anyways, let's talk about it. Happened last Thursday. It's a very long event. I think what 3 hours, 3.5. If you count,
It's
there's like
about
a
3 hours with the pre-show. Yeah,
with the pre-show. Okay, yeah, yeah.
I think so.
So
Either it was either three or 3.5 hours with the
yeah,
pre-show.
it's pretty long. The pre-show. I kind of like the idea of the pre-show because look, you're not gonna get. They're not the bigger games, and if you want to get some eyeballs on them, putting it up front when people are like excited for the actual game awards and all the big announcements and winners, and maybe they have some time to come and check some stuff out, so they'll show up there early. I know I showed up, maybe I didn't watch the whole pre-show, but I watched a good amount of it.
Yeah,
And
I
so
liked it. I enjoyed the pre-show. I watched pretty much. Yeah, I watched the whole pre-show. I like that. Well, I don't know if this is a good or bad idea, but I do enjoy the fact that some of the awards they gave away during the pre-show,
yeah,
like a
so
lot
do
of like
I.
the smaller categories that like
Yeah.
I don't really care. Like I care about, but like I don't think a lot of people do care about it. Like
Like coach of the
best.
year or whatever.
Yeah, like yeah, exactly. Like I kind of care about that, but
Hmm.
I think the majority of people they're not going to care.
Yeah.
They'll care about an esports team, but I don't think they'll go as far as to care about the coach for that esports team. You know, like even
Yeah.
in the world of like American football, like I'm sure people, like they love supporting their team, but I don't think they care too much, at least who the coach is. And
No,
you
no,
get some
no.
people who do though.
Yeah, I don't think Al Pacino was sitting there with a bated breath waiting for, Esports League or whatever of the year.
Exactly, yeah.
But speaking of Al Pacino, it was that was a big surprise. When he said Al Pacino, I was like, is this a comedy bit? Or are they going to like have an Al Pacino impersonator come out or maybe they pre-taped something with Al Pacino that was kind of a comedy thing, but no, it was actually Al Pacino coming out and giving
Yeah.
the first award of the night, which was kind of cool. It was a big one. It was kind of like we want to start the show off with a bang,
Well, they
with
had to
with
get Al
best
Pacino
performance.
home.
Yeah,
They had to get him to bed. Poor guy.
yeah, and also they want to kind of be like, okay, show that they got some big stars here. They
Mm.
having him do best performance was fitting, right? Because obviously, even you could tell, and obviously you could guess, Al Pacino himself is not a gamer, but he says he has
Yeah.
what
But
like
he knows about
grandsons.
performing.
Yes,
He
he
knows,
knows about
but he
performing,
does.
so
Yeah.
it
He
was
knows
good.
about performing.
So uh, also there was a few other people in the crowd. I saw like Alana Pierce in the crowd. I saw the
Hmm.
two main actors or actresses from Immortality, which the main girl, I forget her name, something Gage, was also nominated for best performance.
I got to see one of my favorite YouTubers, Average Jonas. Like I think it's because he was representing. It was a brand ambassador for a certain
Mhm,
brand, and they just kind of like randomly threw the camera at him. They're like, "Can we have Average Jonas in the crowd?" I was like,
mhm,
"Yeah, I love Average Jonas." Even him, I think even he was like, "Oh wow, okay, yeah, here I am. I'm
mhm.
here. The camera's on me now. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Shame."
Yeah, Jess Henwick, who's promoting the Glass Onion, which is a Knives Out sequel, also presented her award, and then also through to Ryan Johnson and Daniel Craig as well. So yeah, it was like overall, I enjoyed the event. It is a bit long, but with that many trailers. Oh, this is something I did mention when we had taped this before, and I'll mention it again. Which is the only criticism I have, and it's not so much with the show itself, but it's with the developers and the marketing teams.
Oh yeah.
A lot of the trailers start to get very samey, right? The same type of music, the same type of presentation, the same boom, like and like I said before, this happens with movies too. A lot of movie trailers start to feel and sound the same. There's kind of a formula that these big budget movies will come up with, and then everyone starts copying that. And I kind of feel
Yeah.
like games are like that too, and also in their kind of art design and presentation as well. So that
I
was
was
kind of
actually
my only
talking to a friend about. I was talking to a friend about that. How like TV show like the intros to TV shows are like that nowadays. Like every single TV show intro, not everyone, but the majority of TV show intros are all just like stop motion. Like you just see the characters frozen and the camera
yes.
angles pan across. And like there's so many TV shows that have it as the intro. I guess because it's like easier CGI wise to do. Like you didn't even have to put text. It's always like a rock figure of someone, and it's
Hmm.
because it's like you don't have to put a texture on them. You can just render out the person and have them as a still. It's probably a lot cheaper and quicker that way. But so many like TV shows do that now to the point where I'm like, man, if I have to see one more slow motion pan across a rock figure of one of the characters, and I can't. I'm losing my mind. But I agree. A
Yeah.
lot of the trailers did look the same. They had the same feel. A lot of dark fantasy things. A lot of things that look like they want to be the next Elden Ring. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and it's hard to stand out of the crowd when everything kind of, especially with new IP, right? Like, look, if you got like you know, a franchise that people already love, and you throw out a trailer, they're gonna come and support it. But with some of these new IPs, like a lot of the stuff starting to look a lot of the same. Like we're not gonna go through every single trailer or game that was announced, but some of them I couldn't even tell you like the name of that particular franchise because there was like so many that were very very similar. So so let's kind of quickly go through the winners, the big ones. I don't think we're gonna speak about every single
Yeah.
one, but
Just a
let's
heads up,
start with
I I did just find out that my power is going off once again in about 50 minutes from now. So
okay.
we're gonna plow through
There's a
this
timer.
podcast. We're gonna
There's like
do
a
it.
timer.
There's a
Put like a
timer, yeah.
timer over here. Uh,
Before we get into like the nominees and stuff, I do want to say like I enjoyed the pre-show.
okay.
I enjoyed the actual event itself. I also agree a lot of the trailers started looking the same. I enjoyed how Jeff Keighley kind of breezed through a lot of the winners by like announcing four at a time. I do feel
Yes.
bad for like I do feel bad for a couple people because I'm sure there was like a few people in the crowd that were expecting to go up. You know what I mean? If they did win,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of people won, they just didn't have the time to go up. You know what I mean? Like they rushed through them. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure all the people that were there for content creator of the year, all the YouTubers, they were probably all there dressed super nicely in their suits, ready to accept their award, and then they just announced it and they moved on. I thought
Well,
that was so funny.
what's weird about
Yeah.
the pre-show is at least on the main show when Jeff Keighley was announcing it, he would name off each nominee and then he'd be like, the winner is
Yeah.
blah blah blah, and then he'd go to the next category. In the pre-show with Sydney, she literally was like, "This is the category," and then they just put
And
a graphic
yeah, it
of
was
the
just
four,
on the
and then
screen.
the winner is this, and then it was like, back in the day, especially with like the big awards, right, with the Oscars, right, you
Mm.
do a whole little reel, you show this is nominated is so and so, and then you show like clip of their performance, and they do that with Game of the Year as well, where they're like, okay, here's a clip of the actual game. Like, I'm not expecting that, but they didn't even read off the nominee. Like, it was like,
Yeah.
here's the nominees, and it's not like you're throwing to a
And
package.
here's the winner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like literally a graphic. Here's the nominees.
Shame.
Okay.
So
It's
I
like,
appreciated how streamlined they made it because he knows that the Game Awards is like and has been for the past 5 or 6 years. It's like 80% trailers. He knows that. So we got to go through the actual winners real quick so that we can have more trailers. We all know, like everyone's there for the trailers, man. So I enjoyed the event, and then right at the end of the event, we had that little prank that was pulled by some
craziness.
guy, some crazy prank that some guy pulled. He kind of like as Miyazaki and his whole crew, the From Software guys, pulled up on the stage. This guy came from like a different part of the audience and just kind of snuck in with them, like
Yeah.
went onto the stage. I actually respect how casual he was about it because he even like gave like a couple of the people from Software. He gave them a few pats on the back,
Yeah.
shook their hands and like he really like made himself a part of that group. And then right at the end, he just jumped in and what did he say? He said he nominated
He nominated
his his favorite rabbi,
Yeah,
Bill
Bill
Clinton.
Clinton. Yeah, it was
It
weird. I
was
thought
so
like he was gonna like say something political or something like
right.
whatever,
Yeah,
or
but no,
protest something. But no, it was just straight gibberish
he
nonsense.
was clout he was just clout hungry, and that's the funniest thing is that like nobody can find a YouTube channel or anything dedicated to this guy. He just did it, and now he's arrested.
Yeah,
Like, well, like
it was
I'm
weird.
sure like they probably got put on like they probably paid bail or post bail or whatever, like had to pay a fine. I don't think he's actually in jail, but he was
No, I
held
mean,
accountable for his actions, you
yeah,
know.
it's weird. But you know, I think we forgot to mention. I'm sure people who watch it know that was for Game of the Year for Elden Ring,
Yeah,
which
game
was
of the year. Yeah.
you know, so the Game of the Year got a little
It was the
upstaged.
very last like 2 or 3 minutes of the entire event. Like it's funny that that's how the entire event. Like I had such a good time watching it, and then right
Mhm.
at the end, like that happened, and I didn't care, but I'm sure for a lot of people there, that probably like kind of like ruins it. You know
I
what I
don't know if
mean?
ruined it, but more like just ends on a little bit of a sour note. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
on
it
the
leaves a
high,
bad
kind of
taste
like
in your
it's
mouth.
like a
I feel bad
buzzkill.
for Miyazaki. I feel bad for Miyazaki, man. You know that guy came all the way from Japan.
Yeah,
Granted, Japan to LA is not that far, but he came all the way from Japan to
still
LA.
still pretty far.
You know,
I mean,
he
maybe
went
because
across
you're in
the
South
ocean.
Africa. Maybe because you're in South Africa,
Yeah,
you're like, damn, that's
it is, it's far for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, yeah. But yeah, so I just feel bad for them. Like, man, they went all the way out there. They got their
yeah.
award. The guy got to
They
do his
won.
speech.
They
Yeah.
won. I think
I still, I said this last time I recorded, and I still think that his translator was not a very good translator.
mhm.
I remember mentioning that before. Like,
Yeah,
maybe the guy's a really good translator, but he's not used to translating in front of like thousands of people.
the
You know, because he seemed
nerves.
like he had a lot of stage fright. Like he was like stumbling across his words. You know.
Yeah,
Um,
it's always hard
but
to
yeah.
remember everything that's exactly said. But
Mm.
so that was Game of the Year. I think it was the deserved winner. Like, look, there's tons
Yeah.
of great games in that category this year. You know, Plague Tale Requiem, that was kind of a dark horse, anyways. It was really a
Mm.
two horse race, right? Elden Ring and
Yeah.
God of War
And
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. Yeah.
And I had mentioned in the time we had recorded before was that I think Elden Ring was the deserved winner just because it was something new. I mean, I know there was Dark Souls games and Souls-like
Mm.
games, but they merged it with the kind of the open world
It was still a new
aesthetic.
IP.
Yeah.
You know, whereas God of War Ragnarok, which is a fantastic game, God of War is a fantastic game, but you know what you're getting with God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Like there's not much different with that game because it's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But because God of War had already won, like the original God of War
hmm
game, I just saw Elden Ring winning because it's something new and fresh, and it takes a lot of balls to do something new. You know what I mean? And then like take that risk because a lot of games are risks nowadays. You know what I mean? Like God of War Ragnarok was not a risk. They knew
No.
they knew that if they make the same game but a continuation with the story, people would love it. Because once again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know?
Yeah.
Not that Elden Ring was a risk. You know, like, but
They didn't
it's
expect it to be
definitely
this big,
yeah.
though. They didn't expect. No one expected it to be this big.
Miyazaki doesn't like the guy that made it. Miyazaki, he doesn't even understand it. He's like, I try not to question why or how
hmm
it happened. But he doesn't want to spend too much time thinking about it because he's like he doesn't think that they'll ever be able to capture that lightning in a bottle again. You know. But it put them
Yeah.
on the map. Like everyone knows From Software now.
See,
Like
I already knew them,
they've
but I didn't
become a
play.
household name.
But
for
I
us,
didn't play
though,
any
you
of
know?
those games because I just heard they were very, very
Mm,
hard, right? And then because Elden Ring was more approachable, right? Because one, it
yeah.
has the open world. Two, you can level up. Because of the open world, you can level up your character, and you can get to
Yeah.
the point
It's
where
not linear. Yeah.
where you can defeat some of these bosses who may be too hard for the average person. I know I was very frustrated when I first started the game, but luckily I was able to
I
kind of
remember,
gut
and then
through.
you got hooked.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
you got hooked.
yeah.
It was like
I
crack,
haven't
man.
been
It was
I
like
haven't been
crack
hooked to a
cocaine.
game like this since I'm not even joking. Fallout 3. I mean, I've been
Yeah,
hooked to other games, but like this was like Fallout 3 level of hookedness, where I was like, I gotta
I
play,
think this
I
is.
gotta keep
I think
going, I gotta
yeah.
get this, I gotta go there here, I gotta go, you know. So that's the thing is,
Yeah.
that's the
Go
thing
ahead.
is, when I think of this whole year, 2022, of gaming, what sticks out in my mind the most? It's the time that I was playing in Elden Ring, and then hitting you up and hitting my other friend Chuck up, and like, oh, did
Like,
you
what
play this?
build did you
Hey,
do?
did
You
you?
do
Yeah,
this? Yeah.
It was like no other game this year made me talk about more than Elden Ring.
Mm. No, for me it's the same, but like the last game to do this to me was the Elder Scrolls Skyrim.
Hmm.
That was the last game, and that's a good decade ago. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I've had a lot of fun games that I've loved since then, but like, dude, I was hooked to Elden Ring. Like I liked Cyberpunk. I really enjoyed that. Like on launch, I put 100 hours in like
Hmm.
the week that game came out on launch with all of its glitches and everything, and I loved it. But dude, Elden Ring, it like made me fall in love with gaming again. Like
Hmm.
that's the best way to put it. Like I was getting kind of, I thought maybe I'm just getting older, maybe I'm just getting bored of games. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm kind of getting over it. And then I played Elden Ring and it like re-sparked that entire love and
Hmm.
passion for gaming. So fucking, I love Elden Ring and I recommend anybody to play it, even if it is hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you get through the entry barrier, it's a great game.
Yeah, for sure.
And they won quite a few. They won quite a few awards. Should we just list the other ones that they won at the
Yeah, I
same
mean,
time?
best game
Yeah.
direction, which makes sense. This one could go a lot of different ways. A lot of good nominees here.
Yeah.
But if you're factoring, because remember, game direction is also game design. It's not just like it's not like
Mm.
movies, right? Where it's like just about performances and stories. Because story wise, best narrative. We can mention that real quick, which is God of War Ragnarok won, and
Yeah.
deservedly so. I mean, even like. Sorry, we've mentioned this before. Elden Ring has a great lore, great backstory, but there's not that much story to it.
Yeah.
So I
Like
would put
you have to watch YouTube videos dissecting it just to understand it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's like I think like I finished Elden Ring the first two times I finished Elden Ring. I still had no idea what the story's about.
Mm.
To be honest, I didn't care. I was
Yeah.
just there. The game was so good. I didn't care about the story. You know what I mean? But like winning game direction makes sense because just based off of the open world and the exploration,
Yeah.
just based off of that, it makes sense to win because like the exploration in Elden Ring and the open world is so well built. Like that alone deserves best game direction. You know,
Yeah,
the direction they chose to go in. Yeah.
for narrative, it's funny because like I've played all of these except for Horizon Forbidden West, but I heard it's
Mm.
excellent. Um, all of these, and I would assume I haven't played it, but I just assume Horizon Forbidden West as well. All have a better narrative than Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
because it's just meteor. Not I think Elden Ring could have had an amazing narrative. They just didn't really focus on it. They just a great
Yeah.
backstory, great lore, and then this other winner, which I mentioned before, which was best art direction. Elden Ring won as well, and I think
Oh,
they
hands
deservedly.
down. Yeah.
This is the one
Oh
I,
yeah.
I I told you I was like they have to win more so than game of the year was art direction because it was something new. Every time I went to a new area, saw different characters, the bosses, everything about the design of the in movies you'd call it costumes, but I don't know how you would say it, but like basically all the kind of design, I mean art direction of
The
everything, the
character
clothes.
design, boss design, like
Yes,
like the
amazing.
items, everything. The very first time you get opened, like the very first time you step out into the open world, it's captivating. Like it's
Hmm.
genuinely captivating because it's a certain aesthetic that you've never seen before. Like
Hmm.
even the colors that they choose, like it's like we've said it before. It's also like not the most high resolution game. Like it's like the
No,
game looks
like the
the
models
game looks
itself
yeah
aren't actually that detailed if you actually
like
look at it
yeah
and break it down.
exactly. It's still somehow beautiful. Like another
It's
game I think of that does
gorgeous.
that is Valheim. Valheim is a beautiful
Hmm.
game, but very low res, very
Hmm.
like low poly count. You know what I mean? But it's still they nail the aesthetic. And Elden Ring did it just on a much higher level, like less so polygons and more high res than Valheim. But it's still like you look at the hair and the things even like the textures. The textures aren't that intense, but everything put together just has this beautiful aesthetic. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
doesn't
like the
have to be high
buildings,
res.
the
Yeah.
architecture on the buildings. When you go to the capital
Mm.
city of is it Lendal? I forgot the exact name.
Um, which you're talking
Lindale,
about
Lendale, the capital city, the one in the
the
right in the
capital
middle
city. Oh,
that
I
has
forget the name of that one.
I think it's
I
Lendale.
just remember
Anyway, but
I just remember the Magic City slash
the
school, the academy.
the buildings in there are just they're massive and they have like this. They look like if you ever go to Rome and visit like the old like Colosseum, or you look at some of the architecture there, that's what it felt like. Like you were seeing something that was part of this world's history, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's a very
anyways,
good way of putting it. You're right. It's like yeah, that's a very good way of putting it. You're seeing the history of Elden Ring, which I love.
yeah. So that one I think was like the definite. I had to see them win that
Mm.
one. Best score music. This is also a fantastic category. Bear
Yeah.
McCreary wins for God of War Ragnarok. Not mad at that. There's tons of Plague Tale Requiem had great score music. Elden Ring so as well. Metal Singer. So yeah, I think
I was biased here because I personally, out of all those, I enjoyed where is it now? Yeah, Metal
Metal Sing-
Hellsinger.
Oh yeah.
But that's just because I love metal music. Like it was very much geared towards metalheads, you know.
Yeah. Best audio design, God of War Ragnarok is the winner there. Best performance. This is the one that Al Pacino gave out at the very beginning, and this was also a stat category. And Christopher Judge wins it. And he gave a pretty long speech, man. I was afraid when he gave that speech. I was like, "Are they all gonna be like this?" I was like, "There's a lot of."
I was worrying. I was like, are they gonna cut him? That's what I was like. I was like, you can't cut God of War. You cannot cut. Like, he'll be so mad if you cut his speech. But hot take. Hear me out. I do love Christopher Judge as God of War, as Kratos, and I think it's a phenomenal performance. But the other people on this list, I do think outperformed him because it's like, it's not that difficult to just be very stoic. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, he does an amazing job acting, but even like compared to Artreus, his kid, he doesn't talk much. You know what I mean? He's stoic, dark, and brooding. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of like not levels, but you know what I mean. Like, there's not a lot of like change. You're kind of just playing the same character, like the same way. There's not a lot of like emotional range. Like Kratos isn't exactly known for having a lot of emotional range. You know. Still, like they did a good job. They're well deserving of their award. But I do think like right off the bat, like Charlotte McBurney or Ashley Birch, Manon Gage, like even Sunny, like I think they all did like better jobs technically. I think they acted more, they performed more, in my opinion.
Yeah, I played all those games.
That's my hot take. Yeah.
I played all those games except for Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah,
and yes,
I'm just a big Ashley Birch. I'm a huge Ashley Birch fan.
Okay.
Like I haven't played the new Forbidden West, but just based off of the original Horizon and all the other games she's done, I'm a big fan of Ashley Birch.
Let's run through some of these really quickly before we get to the game announcements, which I know that's kind of the bigger thing, which is kind of
the bulk of this. Yeah.
Games for Impact as Dust Falls, best ongoing game, Final Fantasy 14 online. I'm sure you're happy about that.
That one was obvious. Yeah, that was obvious. Yeah.
Best indie game, Stray winner. Stray was the winner, which wasn't a huge surprise. A lot of people love that.
Yeah.
Best debut indie game, Stray. Best mobile game, well. Marvel Snap, which apparently everyone like going crazy for. I haven't played it yet, but people are like going nuts.
I played a bit of it. It's okay. Like it's not amazing. like Genshin Impact is like, I'm not a fan of Genshin Impact, but the fact that that game runs so smoothly on mobile is pretty impressive. If Diablo Immortal wasn't pay to win, like I don't know, there's just not much to Marvel Snap. Maybe it's just a really big. It's very basic.
Isn't it supposed to be like Magic the Gathering but with Marvel characters? Is that kind of
It's not even. It's yes, that's a good way of explaining it, but like easier.
Okay.
Like easier, less rules, you know what I mean? It's too meh for me. I will say, like, just because it didn't win any awards, but Neon White was mentioned so many times. I went back to play that game afterwards, and I fell in love with the game. It's such a good roguelike game, very action-packed. I do enjoy it. For anybody that likes roguelikes, I really recommend Neon White.
All right.
But yeah, best community support.
Final Fantasy 14 online.
Did you hear the cheers?
Yeah.
Did you hear the like when they won community support? There was like the whole fucking like stadium of people were like, hell yeah, that's our game.
Yeah.
I was happy for him. Yeah.
Best VR AR game was Moss Book 2. I haven't.
Have you played that
yet,
by the way?
But I played all the other ones after the fall. Oh, actually, no, I haven't played Among Us VR, but you have.
I have. I would actually like to say right now that I recommend everyone play the game only because I'm enjoying the game, but I'm sick and tired of waiting 10 to 15 minutes to find a lobby because there's just nobody playing the game.
What?
Like, and then when I do find it, I know, Dennis, like the day it came out, you could play nonstop. Now I play and I know I'm on European servers, so I wait
Uh-huh.
for like when all the kids get out of school because
Uh-huh.
they're the people playing the game. You know what I mean? And even then, I can't find a lobby of more than like 4 people.
Wow.
And
I'm
to play
surprised.
Among Us fun to actually enjoy it, you need like at least a minimum of 6 people, if
Yeah.
not more. You know what I
Uh,
mean? So yeah, it's a good game, but it's interestingly enough not that many people playing it.
oh. All right. Innovation and accessibility. God of War. Best action game. Bayonetta 3, which is
Hmm.
with all the controversy, it's funny
With
to
all the
see it win.
controversies, yeah, it
Best
beat
action.
Sifu, which is impressive.
Yeah. Best action adventure game. God of War Ragnarok. Best RPG.
Easy,
Elden Ring. That's
also
easy.
easy.
Best fighting game was Multiverses, not Sifu
Mm.
or anything else. Best family game, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Best.
Also very fun. I don't know how that beat Lego Star Wars though, because the Skywalker Saga is pretty good,
Uh,
and it's on Game Pass for anybody interested.
Best sports racing game, Gran Turismo 7. Best sim strategy game, Mario and the Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Best multiplayer game.
I don't know how that one won by the way, because
Mm-hmm.
it's like out of all those games, it's the game that has the least amount of strategy and the
Mm-hmm.
least amount of sim.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dune Spice Wars, like that's a good strategy game. Total War Warhammer 3 is
Mm-hmm.
that entire series is so strategy heavy. It's and so simulation heavy. 2 Point Campus, a bit more on the casual side. Victoria 3 also, but like
Mm-hmm.
Mario Rabbids Spark of Hope, like just so you know that's literally XCOM. That's what that
Mm-hmm.
is. Like it's literally XCOM but with Mario and Rabbids. That's I don't know how that won. Anyways, yeah, best multiplayer. We got Splatoon 3.
Mm-hmm.
It somehow beat Overwatch 2 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Multiversus.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's only on the Nintendo Switch, but it somehow beat a game that's like it somehow beat games that are multi-platform, which I don't get. Splatoon 3 is a great game though. It's very fun. But and Overwatch 2 has its gripes. I'm just very surprised that it beat Overwatch 2 as well as Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Mm-hmm.
Content Creator of the Year, I am very happy to say was Ludwig, which is one of my very favorite content creators.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of glad. It's so funny because he was up against his girlfriend. Like one of the other nominees is literally his girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that must have had a bit of tension in the room. Yeah, best esports athlete Jacob Ye Whitaker
Mm-hmm.
from Cloud9 and Valorant. Um, best esports coach Matthias Bazooka, I believe is how you pronounce that.
Mm-hmm.
Best esports event 2022 League of Legends World Championships. I had a feeling it was going to be that. In my heart, it was the Valorant Championships though, because
Mm-hmm.
I love that. But I knew it was going to be League of Legends. Best esports game Valorant. That kind of surprised me, you
Mm-hmm.
know. I'm very happy that Valorant won because you know me, I love me some
Yeah.
Valorant. But I'm surprised that like well, then again, everything else is a lot older, like Rocket League, League of Legends, Dota 2, Counter Strike. Those are older
Mm-hmm.
games, so I guess it was going up against like older stuff. Best esports team was Loud, which I've never I know of them, but from all I figured it would have been LA Thieves or FaZe Clan or something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Most anticipated game.
Yeah,
We
we
both
talked
know
up.
we hate this.
We
Yeah.
just don't like the category. It just doesn't make any sense.
Because any of these games could bomb when they come out, you know
Yeah,
what I
they're
mean? Or
just
they could
it's
just like, or they get delayed again, and it's like, well, the most anticipated game is the game that never gets released. Dennis, did you know
yeah.
that?
It's basically the
game
biggest
yeah,
hype, which can
yeah.
turn out good or bad, Anyways,
Mhm.
best adaptation. This one also is like a no-brainer.
Yeah,
Arcane definitely
hands
should.
down, Arcane. Yeah,
There's some
I just
good. There's some
yeah.
good, whatever competitors in there. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying Arcane. Was,
Edge Runners was really good.
Mhm.
Edge Runners was I like Edge Runners because it had an ending and it
Mhm.
wasn't like oh sequel. It's like no, it's done. This is it. There's the whole
Mhm.
story and it's done. I really loved Edge Runners, so for me it was tight. But then I recently rewatched Arcane and it's a no-brainer. Arcane is it's a masterpiece.
Yes.
It's flawless.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece.
Fantastic. All right, I think that's it for the winners.
The awards.
Let's talk about the trailers, which most of the reason why people are watching. I mean, literally, I think 75-80% of the audience wouldn't be watching if there wasn't the trailer and game reveals on the show. The big one we knew was coming was Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Correct.
The reveal
We even
trailer.
had what's his name? I'm blanking on his name right now.
The guy that plays
Cameron.
Calcestis. Yeah,
Cameron something.
Cameron like
Monaghy or something. I can't
Yeah.
pronounce it. I know we're butchering it. I'm so sorry, Cameron, and I'm so sorry to people who are fans
Yes.
of Cameron. I love the dude as well. Great actor. But yeah, he came out and he spoke about, hey, he said himself that it's the greatest Star Wars game that he's ever played or that's ever
Yeah.
existed.
Yeah.
And he looks like a gamer. He looks like the type that has played a lot of Star Wars games. So
Yeah.
that it better be the best Star Wars game that's ever come out.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, Fallen Order was the best Star Wars game that I've ever played. Well, Knights of the Republic is pretty
For me, Knights of the
intense.
Republic is
Yeah.
number one.
I was gonna say KOTOR is pretty damn good as well. But I'm waiting on the remake on that for
Me too.
yeah, that's gonna be sick.
But yeah, they show gameplay footage. It looks great. One of the things.
You have mounts. You can you can ride some things. You can glide on some things. I like that, man. Yeah.
What I want is, new locations, and it looks like they have new and varied locations. Just like the first
I would do
game.
anything for them to. I would do anything for them to give me something besides a poncho for customization. Not like, hey, you can unlock 50 different types of ponchos. It's like, dude, give me you could customize the crap out of your lightsaber, but the clothes, no, just ponchos. Nothing else for you, just ponchos.
Yeah. All right. What else? It's coming out March 17th next year, which is not that far away, which we have mentioned before. For these sequels, announcing and showing a trailer so close to release is fine because you already have that built-in audience. It's not a new IP.
Yeah.
You don't have to build any, hype for it. People are already hyped.
Yeah. I will say the one trailer that got me really excited because I was not expecting it whatsoever is Hades 2. Because Hades is one of my favorite games, my favorite roguelike games of all time. I played the crap out of that game when it came out. I bought it on the Switch just to play it even more on the Switch, mobile, or when my power's out, which seems to be all the time. So I was I saw the art style and I immediately knew that was Hades, and I was I knew it was going to be a sequel. I was I'm just so happy that they're making a sequel because I forget the studio behind the game, but they're known for doing not doing sequels. They're known for doing one-off games, and all their previous games have kind of led up to Hades, in terms of gameplay and how it works. And their games are always that view though, isometric. I think.
Yeah. Isometric,
Diablo 2 view. Isometric.
Isometric.
Yeah, all their games are like that, so they strive in that. So Hades 2, really excited about that. I can't wait to play that when it comes out. You're playing as a new character, the daughter of Hades, I guess, or I don't know. It's like a different storyline. And then we also saw because obviously they probably told From Software, it's hey, do you have anything to show? So From Software showed us that they're working on Armored Core 6. Yeah, Armored Core 6, which I haven't heard
cool
about that game for a long time. They say it's going to be more like Sekiro than a Souls-like game. So that's interesting right off the bat. Yeah.
I'm interested just because From Software is working on it.
Exactly, same. I don't know if they worked on the previous games because I remember Armored Core is a very old IP.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Armored Core 3 or 4 back in 2002 or something, you know what I mean? That's a really old IP. So I don't think I'm guessing From Software this is their first time working with Armored Core.
That's
but the first time I ever played Armored Core, I was very young and I just could not for the life of me figure out the controls or how any of it worked, so I gave up on it. But this trailer looked sick, so that looks good, Yeah,
it says developer From Software. I guess they have been working on this. I guess this was
wow.
Interesting. I did not know this was in their kind of history of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking forward to seeing. I mean,
oh wow, it is. Yeah. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Since 1997.
I mean, it's been a long time. But it's had different publishers though. Ubisoft published it.
But
Miyazaki
Sega was the designer.
Sega even. Now it's with Bandai Namco, but it's been around the block. Let's just say.
Miyazaki was the designer of the very first one, apparently.
Yeah,
in
but this is
1997.
Post Elden Ring has there's a lot more interest in it. I remember when the From
Exactly,
Software logo popped up, people were going nuts.
Oh yeah, it's like
They
a
didn't care what
next
it
From
was.
Software game. How
They didn't.
that's so true. I was the same way. I was like, oh my god, it's From Software. They're doing a game
Yeah.
so soon. Ah.
Yeah. Death Stranding 2, that reveal trailer. I mean, everyone
hmm
knew it was being worked on, and then this trailer came out. Leia Sadu plays a new character called Fragile, and then later you see Norman Reedus, and he's like a lot older.
Much older, yeah.
Because at first, when the trailer started, because obviously it's Hideo Kojima. Of course, it's all cinematic. Like, there's no gameplay in here whatsoever. I thought maybe it was like a prequel.
We know it's going to be a walking simulator again. We
Yeah.
know that.
But I thought it was like maybe it was like a prequel. That was like the thing, but it wasn't, because at the very end,
It's like a sequel. Supposedly, I think I remember reading an article about how the pandemic made him rewrite like the majority of the majority of the sequels rewritten because of COVID.
yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe it's changed his influence or ideas on the game, or maybe maybe there was some kind of apocalyptic event that happened in the game, and he was like, "Oh, people will react this way," and then COVID happened. And he's like, "Oh, this is how people really react." That's funny.
Yeah.
Um,
So that was a
Let's
big
see.
reveal. The Suicide Squad killed the Justice League Batman reveal trailer was kind of special because the focus on Kevin Conroy, who
yeah, that was cool.
passed away recently, and so this is kind of his, I believe, his last kind of performance as Batman.
True, yeah.
So
how did you feel about the Judas game that got revealed from the guy that
I thought it looked really
made
cool.
BioShock?
I thought
Yeah.
that was one of the few things that actually stood out. Like I told you, like there's a lot of things that didn't stand out. That was one of the few that actually did for me.
Yeah.
It
It looks really good, man.
Yeah.
I'm very much interested in this Judas game. There's a couple things that dropped that got me excited, but yeah, I don't know much about this Judas game. It looked pretty good though.
I mean,
Like,
it
I
looks
think
like BioShock. I mean, to be fair, but
Yeah.
like a new, probably a new story, a new everything. So, let's see here.
Oh, sorry to correct what I was saying earlier. Hideo Kojima, he rewrote the entire game after during the pandemic, I think it was. Yeah. So he just scrapped it and rewrote the entire thing. Oh yeah, we got to see some of the Cyberpunk DLC,
Yes.
which had Idris Elba in. That was
Yes.
that was a surprise. So now we have
Yeah.
Idris Elba and Keanu Reeves in the
And
in the
this-
same game together.
This is a paid DLC. I remember originally
Yeah,
they
it's
were
paid
saying it was going to be
DLC.
free, but this is a paid one.
Well, it's because they're going to be coming out with the Game of the Year edition right afterwards, and the Game of the Year edition always includes all the DLC. Usually,
Yeah,
like we spoke about this
one
before.
DLC.
Yeah, usually the Game of the Year edition, like it implies that there's like all the DLC, which is usually like 2 or 3 things, but with this is just one DLC. Here's the Game of the Year edition with one DLC.
Yeah.
It looks good though. It does look good.
Yeah, it does. That was one of my, most liked trailers during the whole show, and obviously, it's a known IP and property. Tekken 8, I haven't played Tekken in a while, but apparently that was a pretty big deal with that.
Yeah,
trailer.
they I think Jun Kazama, if I'm saying that correctly, who we all, like everyone thought was dead, but apparently she wasn't dead. Well, like it's been 50-50. Like I thought she was dead, and then my other and I'm a pretty big hardcore Tekken fan, and then a lot of other friends that I have that are also hardcore fans, they're like, no, she's not dead. But now we know that she's not dead because she's in the game.
Yeah.
It looks really good. It's interesting because it doesn't look like the trailer that they first showed off. That first trailer they showed off like a while ago. Remember we spoke about it. It was so in like high def. We thought it was a cutscene. You know what I mean? Like they punch each other. You see the water like blash away. You see the ripples on their skin, and then you see this trailer, and it's like not. It's still good, but it's not what we saw in that original trailer. You know what I mean? In terms of quality. But I don't care. I don't play Tekken for its high quality. I play Tekken because I like punching my friends. Digitally.
Yeah.
So looking forward to it for that reason.
Dead Cells Return to Castlevania was announced in the pregame. They had a trailer for that. I know a lot of people are
Dead
big
Cells is always
Cells
doing
fans.
all sorts. They're doing all sorts of collaborations. It's a pretty fun game as well. I enjoy it. All sorts of collaborations.
Diablo 4 had a
I was gonna
trailer
say,
with the release.
Diablo
with the
4
release
got me-
date. What was
that
it?
got me so
June.
stoked, man.
June 6th.
It's six. It's the 6th of the 6th. Yeah, next year. I'm looking forward to it. I just hope that Blizzard doesn't screw it up last minute like they do with most of their games. Like everything looks perfect, and then they change something like the week before and release the game, and everything just all hell breaks loose. So I hope that they don't do that.
Well,
Yeah.
apparently, certain game
There's a couple of people
influencers
who have
have
gotten it.
played it.
Some people have played it and they say it's really good so far.
They said really good, and they're just the only concern they have, and it has nothing to do with what they played, is that they're worried about some sort of
pay to win.
Yeah, or microtransactions, because everyone's like so kind of scarred from was
Diablo
it Diablo?
Immortal.
Yeah, so
pay $30,000 and you can be one of the top players in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully
discouraging.
Hopefully that does not creep in. So.
Yeah. No, definitely not. We saw some more Street Fighter 6.
That looked cool.
Character creation, like you get to make your own character, like a couple mini games. I like they're adding in a couple of different things besides just fighting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I like that. The character creator looks well. They didn't show us the character creator, but they did show us a character that looks like it was created. You know what I mean? Very generic character, and it looked really good. So I'm actually looking forward to Street Fighter 6, and I'm not the biggest Street Fighter fan. Like I like fighting games, but I've always been more of a Tekken guy than a Street Fighter guy. But this Street Fighter 6 looks good, you know?
I mean, the first Street Fighter I've been interested in a while, just because it looks like it's adding something new with the whole kind of open world, build your own character, RPG
little
element
games and
to it.
Stuff.
Yeah, so
the graphics do look good.
Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of keep my eye on the reviews and then perhaps get it from there. I mean, there was tons of games, you know. But like I said, like a lot of them just start blending into your mind. You know what I mean? You're like,
well, yeah.
Which
one of the bigger
reveals.
One of the bigger reveals that I'm mostly excited about, just because I'm a die-hard Final Fantasy fan, which is we saw more Final Fantasy 16, and now I'm kind of able to, with all the trailers so far, we've seen a lot, but like I was not able to put together much of like a story impression. But now, for some reason, this trailer kind of like filled in the gaps and the questions that I had. So I have more of a feeling of understanding about what the game's going to be about. And it's looking pretty good. We also got to see Ifrit, or what... Well, there's many different iterations of Ifrit. Ifrit is in like most of the games. Final Fantasy has like... every story is unique, but they tend to use the same like bosses and creatures and like mob things that you fight, you know? But yeah, so we got to see this version of Ifrit. It looks sick. Big emphasis on fire in this game. I'm really, really excited for Final Fantasy 16. That's looking good. It's a big game as well.
Vampire Survivors announced their mobile game, and it's free.
Dude, my life is over.
Now you can play that anywhere.
Dennis, like, because that was my biggest question, was once I got to about 80 to 90 hours in that game, I was like, why is this not on mobile? Because this is like
it's
an
like
8-bit game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's I think the entire game is like 100 megabytes or something or less.
Yeah.
And it's like, how is it not mobile? So it's finally mobile. It's free to play. And that game is so addictive. Probably has a lot of ads in it, but yeah, to make the money back. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But it's still really good.
There's
still more Super Mario Brothers movie trailer.
Yeah, there's a clip.
Not much. Yeah.
It seemed fine. It looks good. I kind of have cautiously optimistic hopes for it. What's his face? Keegan-Michael Key came out.
He does a great job as well.
As Toad.
Because he put on a really good voice. Like, I didn't know it was him until like people told me it was him, and then I was like, oh, that is him. Like, he did a really good job with the voice, you know?
Then you have there was 2 trailers for Sony exclusive PC games that we've already seen on the PlayStation console, which is Returnal, the PC version, and then also Last of Us.
For that.
We already seen the remake or the remaster on. Well, no, it's a remake, right? Because we already saw the remaster. Last of Us had a remaster.
This is a remake from the ground up.
Yes.
Well, ground up in quotation marks, but yeah,
yes,
it's more of a remake. Yeah.
So the remake for PC is coming out.
Yeah. We also got some DLC for Horizon Forbidden West, which is like pretty... I mean, I feel like that game came out just the other day, but I guess it has been like a year because it was a launch game on the PS5, I think.
No, it wasn't a launch game, but it came out earlier, like February this
Like,
past year. It was like right before Elden Ring.
oh,
I
you're
remember
right. Yeah, it was
because
like, yeah, it
I was
was.
playing the
Yeah.
first one, and then all of a sudden Elden Ring dropped, and then my whole life got
So
turned
then, yeah,
upside down.
getting DLC this soon is pretty surprising, actually, to be
Yeah,
honest. It looked good though. It looked good.
yeah.
One of the things that I don't know how to feel about is Crash Team Rumble. It's a 4v4 multiplayer game.
Hmm.
It's either going to be really, really fun or it's going to suck. Like, there's no middle ground on that one, I think. I will say, you know what got me stoked and a lot of other people stoked? And you know who else was stoked? He won't ever admit it, though. I bet you this got Henry Cavill so freaking happy. But they finally showed us some Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. It's been so long since the first Space Marine came out. And I'm excited for this game because it looks really good. But also, like, the more people that play the game, the more people that know about it, I think the chances of them making a movie is higher. Because I know Henry Cavill also really wants to make a Warhammer Space Marine movie.
He wants to make every geek movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's first focused on doing Mass Effect like first. You know what I mean? But I know he like his heart lies with Warhammer. Like he plays the actual freaking game. Like that's commitment, man. Warhammer. I could never get into Warhammer the tabletop. It's a lot of commitment. Couple indie games got announced. Not really. There's also, like, a
Hellboy was
spin-off
kind of
game for
cool.
Bayonetta. That did
Hellboy.
look cool.
I mean, it looks like the original Mike Mignola art from the comic books. That's
From the
what I liked
comic
about
books.
it.
Yeah, I immediately recognized it. I was like, oh, this is Hellboy. Like
Yeah.
immediately, I was like, oh, this is Hellboy, man. Yeah, that was sick. Yeah. Oh, we got this '90s GTA type game called Crime Boss Rockay City.
That
And
Michael
it sounds
Madsen
like
came out.
it sounds like a bad mobile game. But then you saw it and it was like we had Vanilla Ice in there, man. Danny Trejo, Danny
Danny
Trejo,
Glover.
Danny Glover, Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
You know, Michael Madsen. That actually looks really good, just based off of like all the '90s stuff that they're throwing in your face. You know,
It looks very
Kinda like
Vice City. Grand Theft Auto.
very Vice City. Yeah, '90s Vice City. Then we saw Lords of the Fallen, which does look like a very solid Souls-like game. People are saying that it's basically going to be 2023's version of Elden Ring, or they're trying to be Elden Ring. You know what I mean? I don't think that was the case. They were just trying to make a Souls-like game. You know, I'm sure they were working on this game before Elden Ring came out. It does look good though. It does look pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I feel like in order to achieve what Elden Ring achieved, even an imitation is very hard because all of that time and effort into building that world is not just like a straightforward, map of like, okay, you go A to B and then that's it,
Exactly. We got a Baldur's Gate 3 video trailer, which I could be wrong, but I feel like they're like it looks like they're streamlining it because it doesn't look as much point and click game, which I'm used to Baldur's Gate being. Maybe it could work with a controller. I'd like that. Oh yeah, we saw we saw more about the Forspoken game, which I was hating, then liking, and then hating, and now I like it again. And now there's a demo out on PS5. I think. Yeah, or it just says PlayStation Network, so probably PS4 as well. But yeah, they got a demo out. The game's looking really good. That Transformers game was looking good too, Dennis.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was a Transformers game, and then out of nowhere, it just got real heavy about like I thought it was. I kind of gave me like Halo feel because like the beginning of Halo, the campaign when the dude wakes you up, it was like the same view. I was like wondering. I was like, what is this? I had no idea it was gonna be like a Transformers game, and it looks kind of like darker and edgier. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's another one that I'll kind of keep my eye on. Like, hey, are people actually liking this? Because I remember, I forgot what was that one game. They had a Transformers game that had like, it was like anime style, and it looked like a cartoon.
I forgot what that one was, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Is there any other trailers or announcements? I mean, obviously there is a bunch, but like
I don't know anything about this Immortals of Avium game because it was just a CGI cutscene. But from what it looks like it's setting up, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It's an EA original. It comes from a group of devs that worked on Dead Space, Halo, and BioShock. Oh yeah, Remnant 2. That got announced. That looks pretty good. Sequel from Remnant of the Ashes, I believe. which is a really fun game. You know, it's a game where you wouldn't expect guns to be in, but then it's like you're kind of like, thank God I have guns in this world. You know what I mean? I'm sure like there were points in time where I was playing Elden Ring where I was like, fuck, I wish I had a gun, man. You know,
Mm-hmm.
be easier to use than Well, then again, some of the magic in that game was like a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. What was this blue protocol thing again? This looked like, wait, it looked too anime to me. This blue protocol thing, which I know is probably not a thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's, but yeah. After Us looked interesting. I think that was from the people that made Flower and what's that other game where you just Journey? I think yeah.
Mm.
They were working with a former. I think they were working with an artist for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Vampire Survivors. We spoke about that. Dead Cells, Valiant Hearts, which is a game I never thought would get a sequel, is getting a sequel. Oh, it's not. It's getting a mobile version. That's what it is. Okay. Yeah, a Colossal Cave. I still don't know what that it's about. Wild Hearts got announced. Nothing else pretty. Oh, that's right. I will say we got to talk about the Dune thing because it was just a like CGI cutscene. Like I still don't know how they're possibly going to pull off a really big budget MMORPG. Like the Dune universe is perfect for an MMORPG, but
Mm-hmm.
how are they like they're trying to make it come across as if it's going to be big budget or like high quality.
Yeah.
Like you can't have high quality MMORPG games. Like uh sorry, heartburn. Final Fantasy did a good job. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they did a good job, but they found like a nice balance. Like if you look at Warcraft, you look at any like MMORPG, it's difficult to have it super high quality, looking high quality, because you need to have more people to be able to play it. You don't want to put strain on the servers and things like that. You know. So I'm very interested to see how they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Couple smaller things. They showed us some more of the Call of the Mountain stuff for VR for Horizon Call of the
That looked
Mountain.
good. That looked
They
good.
announced a hide and seek mode for Among Us,
Yeah.
which is so funny because it's like there are so many game modes for Among Us if you mod the game yourself, you know what I mean? Like people have been playing Among Us hide and seek for a long time, and now Among Us is like, yeah, we'll actually know we'll add that in ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see them adding a lot of mods in the future as their own game modes or whatever. And then Destiny Lightfall 2, which I wasn't expecting either. And I think
Yeah.
that about covers it. A lot of other smaller things that's not really too worth talking about,
Yeah.
but yeah,
So,
that about covers all of it.
yeah, I guess that's gonna be it for us. If you guys had watched the Game Awards, let us know about what you thought about the winners. What was the ones that you kind of agreed with? What are the ones you totally disagreed with? And also, what was the biggest game announcement for you, and
Yeah.
what you were looking forward to the most? You
Yeah.
can find
I don't know.
what's it?
I
Go
don't know
ahead.
when we're going to be doing. I don't know when we're doing the next podcast or anything, so I'll say this here, but I'll probably talk about it more in the next video. High on Life did come out 2 days ago,
Mm-hmm.
as of this recording, and I'm loving it. The gameplay is pretty average, a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
platforming, mainly a bit of shooting, but it is hilarious. It is so funny. There was a day one patch of like 25 gigs because apparently people were
25
complaining that
gigs.
they were complaining because there's too much talking. So now there's like a mode where you can turn off all the talking, and it's like I'm playing the game for the talking.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm playing it for the jokes. Like the game mechanics are very average, but I'm playing it because it's funny, and it is really funny. So far, I'm enjoying it. I don't know if it's short or not. I have a feeling it might be short, but
Probably.
still, loads of fun. It's on Game Pass right now, and I highly recommend it to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll probably have hopefully another podcast either end of this week or early next week, because there is some news. We had the whole FTC's gonna sue Microsoft thing, so
Oh
it's
yeah,
kind of
true.
going through, and a few other things for the. Also, I think probably pretty soon we should do our kind of end of the year wrap up of our favorite games
Yeah,
and whatnot. So
our Revog Wrapped playlist,
yeah,
if you
yeah,
will. You know.
exactly. All right, guys. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Revog. You can follow us on Anchor.fm or Spotify for the weekly podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram Dennis.tzng. Josh, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitch at It's Thespis, all lowercase. There should be a link in the description below. Once I get to 100 followers, I will be back to streaming daily. And you guys can also find me in the Revog get the Revog
Discord.
channel.
Yeah.
Thank you. I needed some help there. If you guys ever want to talk about games, me and Dennis were pretty active in the server nowadays.
Yeah.
More than happy to talk about some games with you guys and
Or
even
other
play some
stuff too.
games.
Or
Yeah,
other stuff.
I'm also,
Movies,
or
TV
movies,
shows.
TV shows. Yeah.
Whatever.
So be sure to join our Discord channel, and if you ever want to talk, we'll be there.
Cool. All right. Until next time. See you guys later.
Later.